In the woods, there are 6 dead trees, the killing trees. That's where they take them. People like Neela and her friend Sherry and the Dills family. Innocent travelers on vacation on the back roads of California. Seized and bound, stripped of their valuables and shackled to the trees, to wait in the woods, in the dark. ... Today I'm going to be talking about Richard Laymon's The Woods Are Dark. Now, The Woods Are Dark is honestly one of my favorite Richard Laymon books now. It is right up there with Resurrection Dreams for me. If you don't know about The Woods Are Dark, this is a very early Richard Laymon book. It is also the one he credits as basically being the reason why he never caught mainstream success in America like he did in Germany and in the United Kingdom and I guess in other places across the sea. He just, he had a very, strong feeling toward this book, or at least the release copy. I think the original publisher was Warner, and I guess they actually heavily edited the book as, it's a Richard Laymon book, so maybe parts of it were over the top, and at the time they didn't feel comfortable releasing it. Who knows? But there is a uncut copy that I think was put out by Cemetery Dance in like 2007, 2008, somewhere along that time frame. I don't know if there are any other uncut copies or Richard Laymon original copies floating out there, but that being said, I liked this version. I could definitely tell there was certain parts that I could see maybe Richard Laymon wanted to get deeper into, and it just didn't happen, especially near the end when the reason for the main enemies in this town, which are known as the Crawls, a tribe of almost subhuman at times cannibals that seem to live in the forest around this town. When it comes out that they actually have a reason for existing in this woods, and what that reason is was very, I guess kind of disappointing, because that's just, that's it. There's nothing more there. It's like this big reveal, and then that's the end of the book, and you're kind of left on this cliffhanger note of, well, what happens now? But that being said, I also found that to be kind of fun. That is definitely a trope for a lot of more pulp horror novels, where they kind of leave you with this big bang, and then that's it. It's very open-ended, almost like a good horror movie, where it's very clear that in some way, shape, or form, the horror continues. Now, this book follows 2 very different casts of characters. One is, well, I guess 3. It follows Neela and her friend, who are on a road trip through California, and common Richard Laymon as shenanigan ensues. Their car trip is basically them talking about men, and a lot of men writing women badly. Once again, if you're familiar with that sub on Reddit. And then the other group is a family that is taking a trip with their, I believe it was their older daughter and her boyfriend, and then the mother and father. And they stop in the town and stay overnight in the hotel, or motel, I should say, which turns out very quickly, slight spoiler alert, if you stay in that motel, the motel keeper and his wife will try to either kill you or bind you in some way, shape, or form, so they can take you to these trees where they tie people up and leave them for the Crawls. The other group of people in this town, the other group of people in the book, are a mother and daughter team who are trying to get out of the town by any means necessary, because their life in the town is not great, as it's revealed that the people that actually live in the town never really leave the town. They can't. They all carry the secret of the Crawls. So not only do the Crawls not let them leave, but also the other townspeople are afraid that they might leave and that the secret will be revealed, because in many ways they are all murderers. And in some cases much worse than that. So it really plays out in the fact that even though these townspeople are afraid of the Krulls, and that's why they're offering people up to the Krulls, none of these town people come off as good people. If it wasn't for the fact that they were more scared of the Krulls than they, were of obviously law enforcement or anything like that. I mean, they're not afraid of getting in trouble. They know they can't get in trouble for any actions they take upon these sacrifices, but they're afraid of the Krulls. This stops them from, rape and that sort of things against the victims, because the Krulls like their sacrifices to be clean, so to speak, I think is how it's described in the book. Although it does later come out that some of the Krulls are actually townspeople that have fled the town and have gone to live in the forest amongst the Krulls because they understand in the Krulls' higher purpose. This book is wild. And I don't say that lightly. If you like gore, carnage, cannibals, and cosmic horror, you will like this book. Like I said, I actually cared about the characters in this book, which is not always the case when it comes to Richard Laymon. There's a lot of times where sometimes, at least in some of the later books that you've seen me review on this channel, if you've watched some of the other videos, that the characters feel very much like almost cardboard cutouts. They're there to serve a single purpose, and once that purpose is served, they're just kind of tossed away characters, or they are playing cliches and stereotypes. That's really not the case in this book. All the characters are very different. Even the Krulls, the way the Krulls are described, there's no two similar Krulls. Some are big and grotesque, some just look like naked people. One was described as like almost being reptilian, and that they had like scaly skin, and I don't think they had legs, so they slithered. So there was a lot of like creepiness. Yeah, there was just a lot going on in this book. Trigger warning, rape is talked about a lot in this book. That is one of the purpose for the Krulls to take sacrifices, is they want to reproduce and grow their tribe, for whatever reason. Now, of course, there wasn't a lot explained in the book. The purpose of the Krulls, or at least the purpose of the Krulls that is hinted at, is not gone over until the very last chapter. And then it's kind of disappointing because, once again, like I said, it doesn't really go anywhere, so you are really left on this cliffhanger, which is kind of fun, but at the same time, I really wish I knew the exact purpose of the Krulls, or, if there was maybe even a follow-up book, which I don't think there is, sadly, that explains the purpose of the Krulls or how they got started or any of that. Instead, we're very much left on this cliffhanger. The other thing I didn't really understand about the Krulls is, though they were described as, like I said, almost like subhuman and talking in grunts and growls and that sort of stuff, with the fact that there were townspeople living among them and those that had been taken from the trees, there was a lot of people that could communicate and therefore didn't need to behave as savagely. Although it is hinted at that the Krulls expected a certain amount of savagery to live among them, so perhaps almost like a Stockholm syndrome sets in, and the longer people dwelled among them, the more savage they became. Although, once again, that is also never gone into. All in all, I did really like this book, and I do recommend checking out The Woods Are Dark for yourself. If any of you have read the uncut version or know where to get a copy of the uncut version, please let me know in the comments, because I am very interested in reading the uncut version to see what was actually left out of this book, because once again, I did really like it and would definitely reread it and possibly even review it, just to, talk about the differences in each edition. If you liked this review or disagree with me or agree with me, then please like and subscribe and drop me a comment below. And until next time, I'm Jacob, and I'll see you guys later.